After 3 years together, my girlfriend suddenly said, "We need to take a step back. I'm not ready for serious." So I took that step all the way out the door, blocked her, and her "I didn't mean break up" voicemail hit after I was already gone. The text came at 4:52 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was halfway through my shift, coffee gone cold, half reading emails when my phone buzzed. "Hey, been thinking a lot lately. I think we need to take a step back. I'm not ready for something serious right now. 3 years together. That was it. No call, no talk. Just that." Her name was Maya, 28. We met in Austin when I was 26. She basically lived in my apartment, 5 nights a week minimum. Half her closet was mine by force. My spare room was her remote office. She cried when her mom got diagnosed, and I drove her 4 hours to Houston in the middle of the night. She used my address for Amazon orders, left her diffuser running 24/7, and called the place ours. But apparently, ours wasn't serious. I typed back, "Understood. Let's take that step." Finished my shift like a ghost. Didn't speak to anyone. Got home and stared at her stuff scattered everywhere. Her makeup bag on the counter, laptop open, her plants in my window. The apartment looked like her life had spilled into mine. So I did the one thing I could control. Called my buddy Ethan, who manages storage units. "Need one. Big. Tomorrow." He paused. Breakup. Something like that." By 9 a.m. next morning, I was boxing her life up. The fancy espresso machine she couldn't live without. Her endless throw pillows, the diffuser, the dresses she only wore for Instagram. Everything went in boxes. Even her dumb little manifesting journal that said, "2025 is the year of clarity." Loaded it all into my truck, drove it to the storage unit, took pictures of every single box inside, locked it, and went home. Changed the locks at 5 p.m. At 6:11, she texted, "Hey, dinner tonight? Can't. Busy. Tomorrow. You said you needed space. I'm giving you space." I meant emotional space, not physical. I sent her the address and code to the unit. "Everything you own is there. Rent's paid through next month." 3 dots. Then, "What the hell? You moved my stuff out. You said step back. Can't get more step back than separate homes. I didn't mean break up. Then you should have been clearer." The calls started an hour later. Then voicemails, 14 total. By the 10th one, she was crying. "I didn't mean it like this. Please call me." I didn't, because deep down I already knew something wasn't right. Nobody says, "I need space" after 3 years without a reason. But I didn't know yet just how deep that reason went. Let's just say, by the time I found out, she wasn't the person I thought I'd been sleeping next to for the last 3 years. And by the time she realized what she'd lost, I was already gone. We met the summer before everything went to hell. I was 26, working tech support for a small startup in Austin. Maya was the new marketing hire. Sharp, sarcastic, and always dressed like she had somewhere better to be. She'd walk into the office and every head would turn. But when she talked to me that first week, about music, movies, our shared hatred of kale, she made me feel like I was the only person in the room. It was easy with her. Too easy. By our 3rd date, she was staying over. By month 3, her toothbrush was in my bathroom. By the end of year 1, she'd practically moved in without ever saying the words. We were that couple, road trips, inside jokes. Our song. She'd steal my hoodies and post pictures in them with captions like, "His, not yours." When her mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, I drove her 4 hours in the middle of the night to Houston. Stayed in that hospital waiting room for 3 days straight. She said I was her rock. I believed her. For a while, I really thought we were building a life together. We talked about getting a dog, about moving somewhere quieter. I introduced her to my parents. She cried when my mom hugged her. There were small things, though, cracks I ignored, like how she always had her phone face down, even when she swore she wasn't hiding anything, or how she'd go quiet for hours and then say she was recharging. The first big fight we ever had was about commitment. She'd just turned 28. I asked where she saw herself in a year. She froze. "I don't know. Why do we need to label everything? Can't we just be happy? I told her happiness needs roots. She told me I was pressuring her. We made up, but I should have paid attention then. Because when she said she needed space that day in the text, it wasn't out of nowhere. She'd been pulling away for months, quietly rewriting the story of us in her head. I thought she was stressed from work, but she'd started talking a lot about a new coworker, Eli. Some designer she said was like a brother. Yeah. A brother who commented fire emojis under every photo she posted. I remember the first time I saw his name pop up on her phone. She smiled at the screen in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. I asked who it was. She said, "Relax. You're being jealous." I dropped it, because when you trust someone for 3 years, you don't expect them to be building an exit plan while still sleeping in your bed. The text about needing space came 3 weeks later. But here's what still messes with me. The night before she sent it, she kissed me like nothing was wrong, cooked dinner, laughed. We even watched a movie curled up together. And then, the next afternoon, she nuked it all with a few lines of text. But I wouldn't find out why until much later. And when I did, it didn't just explain the breakup. It explained everything. The secret trips, the late nights, the sudden distance. She wasn't confused. She was testing something. And the truth behind that step back would make me see just how much of our relationship had been a lie. The breakup text should have been the end, right? Clean cut. 3 years, done. But that's not how Maya worked. The week after I boxed her life into that storage unit, she started a campaign. Not to get me back, but to control the story. Started small. A few missed calls. A couple of "please just talk to me" voicemails. Then her best friend, Jess, called me out of nowhere. "She's a wreck," Jess said. "You moving her stuff out like that was cruel." She told me she needed space. She meant emotionally. She should have said that. Jess sighed. "You really gonna let 3 years end like this?" I didn't end it. She did. Click. Next came the family. 7 of them in a group chat, her mom, her sister, 3 cousins, even her aunt. All saying the same thing, "You're heartless." She didn't mean to break up. "She's not eating. She's depressed." I read every message, then sent one reply. She said she wasn't ready for serious. I believed her. Left the chat. That should have been it. But 2 days later, my boss called me into his office. "Got a weird call," he said. "From someone claiming to be your ex's mother. Said you're having a breakdown and might need leave from work." I felt my blood drain. He leaned back. "Is there something I should know?" "No, sir. Just a breakup. Her family's not handling it well." He nodded. "If anyone contacts this office again, I'm documenting it as harassment." I thanked him. Walked out shaking. It didn't stop. Friday night, I was at HEB when I heard a voice behind me. "You've got some nerve showing your face." Jess again. Standing by her cart, eyes full of fire. "Excuse me?" "She's falling apart. Lost 12 pounds. You don't even care." I respected her words. She didn't mean them like that. Then she should have said something different. She glared at me. "You're just proving her right." "About what?" "That you're emotionally unavailable. That you never open up. That's why she needed space." That one hit like a gut punch. Because Maya had said something like that before. When I didn't text fast enough. When I didn't share my feelings enough. When I didn't post about her online. I said, "If I'm that emotionally unavailable, why'd she stay for 3 years?" Jess's lip curled. "Because she thought you'd change." I left. Paid for my groceries. Walked out. She followed me to the parking lot. I could feel her eyes on me as I unlocked my truck. I didn't realize until I got home that night how bad it really was. Because when I parked, the passenger side of my car caught the light. Deep scratch. Long sharp. From front door to back. Checked the building cameras the next morning. There she was. 3:24 p.m. Maya, walking right up, dragging her keys across my car. Like she was etching her anger into the paint. Filed a police report. $800 worth of damage. Called her from the station. She picked up fast. "You keyed my car." Silence. "I have video." I was angry, she said finally. You moved my stuff like I was trash. And now you're paying for a paint job. Please don't file charges. Already did. She started crying. You're destroying my life. No, I said. I'm just respecting your boundaries. Hung up. Her mom called 15 minutes later screaming, "That's not even a real crime. It was misdemeanor criminal mischief, probation and a fine." That weekend, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just having trouble letting go. She was trying to make me the villain. And I had no idea how far she'd go next. Because the next envelope that arrived in my mailbox wasn't from her. It was from her lawyer. The envelope showed up on a Monday morning. I thought it was junk mail until I saw the law office return address in bold. Inside, a demand letter. Our client, Ms. Maya Torres, requests the return of all gifts exchanged during your relationship, estimated value $4,200, compensation for emotional distress, $5,000, and reimbursement for shared expenses, $12,100. I actually laughed out loud. She wanted money for emotional distress after she ended things. Called my buddy Travis, a paralegal. She's lost it, I said. He skimmed the letter. This is garbage. But don't ignore it. Get a lawyer. Make it official. So I did. $1,500 retainer. Worth every penny. My lawyer sent back a masterpiece. Client respectfully declines all demands. No legal basis exists for return of gifts or reimbursement. Any further contact will be considered harassment. 2 days later, radio silence. Until Saturday. Her lawyer called mine and said she was dropping the financial stuff. But now she wanted her sentimental items back. A photo album, her grandmother's necklace, and her laptop. My lawyer said, "They're all in the storage unit. She has access." Her lawyer, "She says she's afraid to go alone." My lawyer, "That's not our client's problem." Click. End of call. I thought that was the end of it. But midweek, I ran into Jess at my gym. She looked nervous, softer this time. "I just want to talk," she said. "How did you even know I work out here?" She told me. "So now you're stalking me?" She frowned. "You don't get it. Maya's not doing well. She's broken. She broke herself." Jess hesitated. She freaked out because she heard something. I raised an eyebrow. "Heard what?" She swallowed. "That you were looking at engagement rings." My blood went cold. Who told her that? She looked away. Her brother's friend works at that jewelry store downtown. The same one where I'd gone 4 months before to design a custom ring. Platinum, 3 small diamonds, $2,800. I was going to propose on our anniversary. "So she found out," I said slowly, "and decided she wasn't ready for serious." "She panicked," Jess said quietly. "She thought you were going to trap her." "Trap her? We'd been together 3 years." "She doesn't think like you do," Jess whispered. And suddenly it all made sense. The text, the sudden distance, the excuses. She didn't want space. She wanted cover. Because while I was planning to propose, Maya was already testing someone else. And not just anyone. Eli, the brother. The next night, I created a fake account and checked her social media. She'd posted a long rant about toxic men who can't handle emotionally independent women. Comments were split. One from her cousin said, "He moved all her stuff out after one text." Another random person replied, "Sounds like he gave her exactly what she asked for." An hour later, she deleted the post. But it didn't matter, because 2 days after that, someone sent me a photo. Maya and Eli, dinner, holding hands across the table. Caption, "Finally ready to be serious." 3 weeks after that breakup text. That was her space. And in that moment, the pieces all fit together, her hesitation, the distance, the timing. She didn't need time to figure herself out. She just needed to make sure her next guy was worth the risk of leaving me. And when he wasn't, she tried to crawl back. But I wasn't about to be her backup plan. No, I was going to make sure Maya learned the hard way what happens when you play games with the wrong person's piece. And that's when I started planning. After the picture of Maya and Eli hit my phone, something in me shifted. It wasn't righteous fury exactly, it was clarity. For 3 years I'd been reacting. Apologizing when there was nothing to be sorry for, defending myself to her friends and family, taking calls from strangers pretending to be concerned. Now I wanted to stop being a weather vane and start being deliberate. First rule: no more amateur hour. I already had a lawyer. Now I started listening to him like my life depended on it. He told me the obvious stuff I didn't want to hear and absolutely needed to hear. Document everything, don't engage emotionally in public, preserve the receipts, voicemails, texts, screenshots, camera footage. Every scrap that proved dates times what was said. He wrote it down in a tone that made me feel like a client, not a boyfriend, and for once that felt like a relief. So I became boring. I printed the police report about the keyed car and saved backups. Photographs of every box in the storage unit timestamped. Copies of the demand letter. The voicemail files. The group chat screenshots. Text threads where she'd said, "Not ready." I even archived old emails where we joked about moving in and dog names. On paper and on 3 different hard drives, the whole timeline started to look less like chaos and more like evidence. Second rule: lose the drama, win the narrative. I stopped answering unknown numbers. I blocked every new burner that popped up. I stopped replying to her friends who wanted to talk. When her mom called my workplace, HR logged it. When her sister showed up with bagels, my building kept a record. My lawyer sent a letter threatening to file for a restraining order if the harassment didn't stop. The moment people realize you'll use process instead of temper, the tenor of everything changes. Third rule: be surgical, not theatrical. Revenge in movies is messy and loud. Real-life accountability is quiet and precise. My lawyer drafted a short, brutal counter. A demand to cease contacting my employer, family, and neighbors, and a warning that any further legal posturing would be met with a countersuit for malicious prosecution and emotional distress for harassment. I didn't gloat about it on social media. I didn't post the pictures. I handed them to the one person who knew how to turn evidence into consequences. I also did something I didn't expect to do. I dug into Eli's background, not to stalk for sport, but to see who this man was who'd walked into my life like he was borrowing it. My fake account poked around enough to notice a pattern. His posts were way cleaner than Maya's, curated like a billboard. Travel shots, inspirational quotes, smiling with coworkers. Nothing that screamed disposable relationship. But something else, small and twitchy, kept nagging me. The jewelry store employee? I called the store through the proper channels and asked about protocol for inquiries. They told me the truth. They keep notes on clients who commission custom pieces. I couldn't get the report without a court order, but the manager confirmed they did speak to a male client who asked about custom rings around the time I'd been there. I told my lawyer. He smiled the smile of a man who enjoys solving problems with subpoenas. Papers were prepared. A formal request for records, notices to HR and the restaurant where the photo was taken, and an official ask to the jewelry shop for logs. Legal moves look boring on paper, but they have teeth. And then, because life loves to deliver half-twists, I got a single anonymous text that night. Check Eli's Instagram. Look at the tagged photos. No number, no name, just that. My skin pricked. I didn't open the app right away. I made coffee. I sat at my kitchen table like the guy who used to live in denial, breathed, and then tapped. What I saw would flip everything again, but not in the way I expected. The text said to check Eli's tagged photos. No context, no warning. I figured it'd be another photo of him and Maya, maybe a trip, maybe something stupid like a selfie captioned, "New Beginnings." But it wasn't that. It was a picture posted by a woman named Clara Rivera. The tag said at Eli Designs, "My fiancé can't take a bad photo if he tried." Fiancé. The timestamp? 2 months before Maya's "I need space" text. I scrolled her page, heart hammering. There they were, a smiling couple at Barton Springs. Another shot in front of Eli's office Christmas party. A proposal video from February. Same ring, same grin. And under one of her older posts, Maya had commented, "OMG, congrats you too. Love this." That was 2 weeks before she sent me the breakup text. It hit me like a punch. Maya had been seeing Eli, knowing he was engaged. knowing his fiancée followed her. She'd even congratulated them publicly while sneaking around with him privately. The kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt, it makes you feel stupid for ever trusting your own instincts. I stared at the screen until my phone dimmed itself. Then I forwarded everything to my lawyer with one line. New development. He called me within the hour. Do you realize what this means? Yeah, I said. It means I wasn't the only one she lied to. He paused. And she's about to get caught in a much bigger mess than yours. Turns out, Clara's dad was on the board of a local nonprofit that Eli's company did advertising for. The same company Maya worked in the marketing department of. In other words, workplace affair, cross-department misconduct, conflict of interest, all in writing, thanks to the little paper trail Maya left behind in her self-absorbed DMs and company Slack messages. Because here's the kicker, when she sent me that breakup text, she was using her work phone. My lawyer told me to sit tight. Within days, HR had copies of the screenshots. He didn't need to say who sent them. He just received them anonymously. By Friday, both of them were on administrative leave pending investigation. But the fallout didn't stop there. That weekend, Clara herself called me. Her voice was shaking. I don't know who you are, but I think your ex was sleeping with my fiancé. She was. Do you have proof? I told her to check her DMs. Sent her everything. The photos, the texts, the timeline. She didn't say anything for a long time. Just breathing. Then, thank you. And on Monday morning, Eli's engagement photos vanished from Instagram. Maya's account went private. Then gone. By Wednesday, word spread around the company that HR found inappropriate conduct between staff. Eli got fired. Maya resigned. For a minute, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I got another anonymous text. This one just said, "You think she fell for Eli? Check her Venmo." I searched her handle. 3 months before the breakup, transfers. $350, $420, $500. Notes. For the weekend, hotel, thank you. Not from Eli. From another name entirely. A married one. That was when I realized Maya wasn't scared of commitment. She was addicted to the thrill of betrayal. And she didn't fall into it by accident. She'd been cultivating it. I couldn't stop staring at those Venmo notes. 3 payments. 3 different weekends. From a guy named Ryan Holt. Quick search. Married. 2 kids. Regional director at a company Maya's firm worked with. That's when the dread kicked in. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Dread. Because it wasn't random anymore. It was a pattern. My lawyer looked through the screenshots I'd compiled. She's playing a long game, he said. These aren't accidents. She's using relationships as leverage. He was right. I started piecing the timeline together, and the pattern emerged. When she was with me, she was constantly posting about ambition and independence. When she met Eli, she started tagging design firms and agencies, trying to get noticed. And when she met Ryan, she suddenly started talking about consulting opportunities and partnership potential. Maya wasn't chasing love. She was trading loyalty for access. Every man in her orbit had something she could use, stability, status, or sympathy. I was the stable one. Eli was the thrill. Ryan was the ladder. She'd built her life out of emotional transactions. And the sickest part? She was good at it. Scary good. She didn't just cheat. She managed the narrative so each man thought he was the misunderstood one. With me, she was burned out and scared of commitment. With Eli, she was stuck in something controlling. With Ryan, she was trapped in a relationship with a man who didn't support her dreams. She told each version of her life like she was pitching a product, selling whatever story would get her the most return. I found out later from one of her coworkers that she'd been bragging quietly, off the record, about how she could make any man fall for her with the right mix of tears and silence. That's the part that stuck with me. The right mix of tears and silence. She'd built that line like a formula. Like it wasn't human emotion, it was strategy. I started remembering small things that used to feel harmless. The way she'd test me, pulling away for days just to see if I'd chase. How she'd cry during fights, then smile 5 minutes later like she was proud of winning. How every apology came only after she'd pushed me to the edge and gotten what she wanted. She didn't love people. She studied them. And when she said she wasn't ready for serious, she meant she wasn't done collecting. The ring I'd been saving for? To her, it wasn't a symbol. It was a threat. A wall. Something that would end the game. That's why she ended it. Not because she was scared. Because she'd found her next mark. The scariest part wasn't the cheating. It was realizing how intentional it all was. The way she cried. The way she rewrote the breakup to make me the villain. The way she used pity to weaponize everyone around her. There was never confusion. Never fear. Just cold, calculated manipulation wrapped in soft words and fake vulnerability. She didn't destroy the relationship by mistake. She dismantled it like a job she'd already planned to quit. And when the truth came out, about Eli, about Ryan, she didn't reach out to apologize. She reached out to rebrand. That's what broke me, because I finally understood. Maya didn't want love. She wanted control. And she used heartbreak as her favorite tool to get it. After the Venmo discovery, I stopped seeing her as my ex and started seeing her as a problem to be solved. The lawyer in me, well, the one I borrowed through my actual attorney, wanted a clean record of cause and effect, no emotion attached. First step, finish the paper trail. Every screenshot, every message, every dollar amount. He packaged it all neatly and mailed certified copies to 3 places: her company's HR department, Ryan Holt's employer, and his wife. No anonymous letters, no drama, just a quiet line in a professional envelope. Evidence of workplace and extramarital misconduct enclosed. By the time Maya realized what was happening, it was too late to spin. Ryan's wife filed for divorce. HR launched a review. The nonprofit her firm had worked with suspended the contract, pending ethics concerns. Eli had already been fired. Now she was too. She tried to pivot, posting a long Instagram essay about leaving toxic environments to heal. The comments turned fast once people recognized the timing. Someone dropped screenshots from her Venmo. Someone else tagged Ryan's wife. Within a day, she deleted her account. My lawyer closed the file, smiled, and said, "You're free to move on." But I wasn't finished yet. There was still the ring, the one I'd designed for a future she'd never wanted. I'd been keeping it in the back of a drawer, couldn't decide whether to sell it or smash it. Instead, I took it back to the jeweler. They gave me 74% of the value in cash. I used every cent to clear my credit card and fund a weekend in Santa Fe. New state, new air, no ghosts in the furniture. When I got back, I ended the lease on the storage unit. Anything she hadn't picked up was donated to a women's shelter. Fitting in a twisted way. Someone who actually needed a fresh start could have it. 2 weeks later, she showed up at my new gym. Hair darker, voice soft. "Can we talk?" "No. You really hate me that much?" I looked at her for a long second. "Hate requires energy. You don't get any more of mine." Her lip trembled, like the old act was coming out by reflex. "I lost everything because of you." "No," I said. "You lost everything because you played everyone." She stood there, frozen. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback ready. I walked away. When I got home that night, the silence felt different. Not empty, earned. The apartment smelled like my detergent, my coffee, nothing else. A week later, my buddy asked if I'd ever date again. "Eventually," I said. "But next time, I'm going to listen the first time someone tells me who they are." Because Maya told me, 3 years in, I'm not ready for serious. I just didn't realize serious meant honesty, loyalty, consistency. All the things she couldn't fake forever. She wanted space. I gave her an entire universe. And the best part? I never had to raise my voice or throw a punch. I just let her lies cave in on themselves. By the time she tried to crawl out, there was nothing left to save. That's not revenge in the Hollywood sense. It's quieter, slower, meaner. The kind that doesn't make headlines, just ends chapters. Maya wanted control. What she got was silence. And in the end, silence was the loudest thing I ever gave her.